Hello, William.
Hello.
Okay, so I have you on today, and you're from Nashville, right?
I am, yes. Born and raised.
And you've traveled around a bit.
I have, yes.
Where to?
I lived in Hawaii for a little while, about 6 months. My mother kicked me out of the house for smoking weed. So I moved down there, got a taste of freedom from the conservative Christian household I was raised in. It was the first time I really got to be with myself and experience, what it's like to be on my own and make all my own decisions, which came with consequences, but also a lot of fun.
And so, did you do a lot of different drugs or just weed? And what was the exploration with that?
In Hawaii specifically, yeah, I had started dabbling with some opiates at that time, did some morphine, pills, mainly just smoked weed. I did acid on the beach, felt like a dolphin,
Sounds amazing.
you know.
Yeah, casual. I know a lady that actually, she put her body into a dolphin. I don't remember what it was called. It was some kind of special meditation. And then she got to experience life as a dolphin, which you'd think you could just kind of do in a meditative state. But she actually said it was very different. Like you actually felt like you were a dolphin.
Yeah, in the coast, I imagined I was a dolphin. There was a lady that reminds me of a lady that she was eating LSD and swimming with this dolphin every day, and she claims that she was telepathically communicating with the dolphin, and that they fell in love, and
What?
so lived happily ever after. I hope.
Oh my gosh. This reminds me too of this guy. It was in a documentary, and he ended up swimming with dolphins every day. And then one day they went a little bit too far, so he had to kind of cut off his friendship with them. But there's something with dolphins. Aren't they? Do they say they're the most human-like animal? Do you know?
I believe so.
Kind of like a horse. I don't know. Okay. So you were traveling. Why would you say, I mean, were you looking for something too along the way, or like what was your journey with that?
I don't know. I think I just hadn't gotten out of the bubble of my small existence at that time, and I just saw a chance to get outside of it, so I took it. And I guess that led to other ventures to other places as well. I mean, I feel like I've always been seeking to get outside of maybe where I'm at currently. I don't know if that's like due to an internal feeling of discomfort or where that's sourced at. I don't know. Do you resonate with that? Have you felt that at any time in your life?
Yeah. I was traveling, I think, to find myself. And a part of it too is, I think, getting that taste of freedom, and then also looking for a sense of purpose, which we've talked about. And it's like, I don't know why some people feel, just maybe most people do, feel that need or desire to find purpose in life, right? I remember so many adults at the time, because I was so lost and confused. And they're like, Abby, I still haven't found what I'm led to do in this life. I haven't found my purpose yet. And I was like, you haven't, and you're 50 or 60? Like, what? That felt so almost hopeless to me. And I think it was because I was so incredibly lost. And now I feel like I at least have a direction in life. But at the time, I was hopping around doing so many different jobs. I worked in a group home, coached tennis, worked at Anthropology as a stylist. I was doing random freelance jobs, design things, marketing. And I was just looking for something. And I think now I have a little bit more of a direction, but it can feel hopeless for a long time. And you like seek validation or things outside of yourself, where I was like spending so much money and traveling and hoping that would fix it or help me lead to someone that would show me something. But did you feel that way too?
I mean, I can definitely resonate with the hopelessness. I've spent the last 5 to 7 years in and out of rehabs, getting well, and then going back into this cycle of self-destruction. I think a lot of that was sourced in the hopelessness that I was feeling at that time in my life. But I'm still trying to determine, I don't feel like there is like an ultimate purpose. Like I feel like maybe that's something that's seeded into us as at a young age. Like you have to find a specific purpose, but maybe it's more so like you're just supposed to find a direction, a path that is fulfilling. And I find fulfillment within my spirit whenever I'm able to be of service to other people. And I feel like that's one key part that I am trying to navigate right now. Like, how can I use stuff I went through, the hardship, I guess, quote unquote, the challenges, and like use it to help other people that are going through similar things and similar life experiences.
Mm-hmm. I even just had the thought, because I know you've talked about finding specific careers that help you find that purpose or serve others, whether that's like drug addicts or people that are struggling. But maybe even just whatever job you have at the time you do, you meet people that have had similar experiences or can relate in some way or need your help in that moment. So it's not even that you go out and you're an art therapist for drug addicts, right? Like you just have these jobs and coincidentally meet these people and help them. Like, do you find you have those experiences at all of your jobs that you've held recently? Or even meeting strangers along the way in day-to-day life?
Yeah, I definitely have connections with people that I wouldn't have if I hadn't gone through the things that I've been through, that feel like very synchronistic and aligned per se. I feel like those are the instances when I get this feeling like I am on the right path, like I am where I'm supposed to be at that time.
Mm-hmm. Those synchronistic moments where you can tell somebody about it, but it doesn't have the same effect as in that moment, where there's some magical effect where you go, oh, whoa, this feels cool.
Right. Yeah. Like you leave a conversation and your whole being feels elevated. Like you feel like you're like floating.
Mm-hmm. And
then you try to explain it to somebody and it's just, you're not able to convey the experience to them.
Mm-hmm. And okay, so your hat says Still Waters. Tell me about that.
Still Waters it's a men's treatment center in Lobelville, Tennessee.
And how is it different from others?
On paper, it's like a 12-step recovery program. So they just focus on the big book, which is like the Alcoholics Anonymous big book. They like really made me understand my powerlessness in the matter of drugs and alcohol. Like for the longest time, I thought I could fix myself, but I've realized now that it's not on me. Like I don't really have the power to do that. Like I've tried everything to do that, but the moment I was able to be like, no, I can't do this. I need something greater than me to help this. I think that's when things have started to change for me.
And do you think you found the most help in mentors or people here, or through God or spiritual almost like other earthly people or powers?
I'd say both.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I definitely have a community of people here in Nashville that I rely on and talk to about things. Like I meet with somebody weekly who has gone through drug addiction and is like 30 years sober. I don't know, we're just able to relate on a level because he's been through similar things as me. Also pray every morning. Mm-hmm. And ask for direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I was very disconnected from God for a long time. I think because Christianity wasn't resonating for me. And then I found spirituality. So then I was kind of talking to the universe or this huge power, which felt like I couldn't almost pinpoint one thing. And now recently I've started talking to God again. And it does feel like things have changed much faster when I actually pray to a single God or one being, but it's also still some resistance with it. And I think I'm learning what works best for me or what feels right for me. And you said you grew up in a more Christian household. Like, do you still feel you're praying to the same God or have that same relationship, or is it different too?
I'd say it's very different than when I was a kid. Like, I was taught that it was very black and white, and if you do these things, you're going to go to hell. If you don't do these things, you'll be saved. And that construct never sat well with me. It was always, yeah, it just didn't resonate with my spirit. And I just believe in something that resonates with my spirit. And I think that's what trying to find that higher being for himself, I think they just should find something that resonates with their own spirit and, you know, deny what everyone else is saying, just kind of listen to themselves, because I feel like the key's inside of all of us. Like, the answer is always within. It's not outside.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever view God as inside yourself or always external? Like, when you pray, okay, for example, I usually always am praying and I view God as out here. But then this past week I've tried this thing where I almost envision him inside of myself or next to me as a friend. And I don't know exactly what is right. And there's probably no right way of doing it. But I'm curious too how you go about envisioning God or praying to God.
I believe he's everywhere, like inside, outside, in you, outside you. Just think he's everything.
Mm-hmm. And do you ever struggle with the he versus she of it? Because that was a bit of a resistance I had too, was thinking, oh, it has to be a he. And even in the Bible, or I've heard some places in Christianity talk about how God is actually a he and a she combined, but they just use the he because it's easier when writing in text to say that. Like, I want it to be almost a combination of a mother and a father figure to me, because if it's just male, it feels like it's missing something. But I don't know how to pray unless I just say God. And then I try to almost picture someone that's like a he combined with a she, or sometimes an energy ball. But again, I can't figure out what I want to envision God as. Is that a lot?
No, I feel you. I mean, I kind of think it's like a combination of like the divine masculine and feminine combined into one. Because, like, why else would there be male, female, like all these different opposites in the world that exist, like day, night, sun, moon. I know the list goes on, but they all work together to create like this homostasis within the world. So I don't think it's like either male or female. I think it's a combined sort of thing. But like, what do I know? I'm not a doctor.
It's fair. I'm probably just sitting there overthinking it when I could just be praying, which is something we talk about a lot, how much I overthink things. And I almost wonder, I had this thought recently, I wonder if my overthinking causes my sensitivities. Because when your brain is going so much, and then your brain and body are obviously connected, what if that's what causes the chaos in your body and the stress and then all these reactions to different things? Because I have constantly like upset stomach or acne or rashes or all these different symptoms. And so, a little tangent, I was trying to figure out with a friend yesterday what causes these acne breakouts. And we were going through and dissecting and saying, oh, this causes it, this causes it. For me, it's like New York, if I get lip filler, if I drink alcohol, if I'm around these certain people. And then I've been doing this thing where I point that finger back at myself and I go, what if it's just me? What if those things are showing me something within me? So I think I'm just causing myself stress in those situations because I'm overthinking, right? Like in New York, there's all that chaos. What if I could just make it all go numb and still within my body and not let the external influence me inside? And kind of similarly with alcohol, I think when I drink it, I almost overthink it and tell myself I'm not supposed to be drinking alcohol and it's bad for me and I'm going to have the worst hangover tomorrow. Instead of just enjoying being a little drunk, I cause myself so much stress. And so then it's the question of, do I just avoid these things altogether, which feels kind of like a easy fix, or do I face them and then continue trying to ease that anxiety and stress I create?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. I heard one dude say once, like, if you feel like you shouldn't do something, you should do it so much, like you should dive into it fully to the point where it just exhausts you. Like if you feel like you're overeating, then just overeat for days until you're so sick of eating that maybe you won't eat as much anymore. I don't know if that theory works. I've never tried it, but seems like a valid idea.
Mm-hmm. It reminds me of the movie Matilda, where the principal makes that kid eat so much cake until he's sick because he loves cake and he stole it. And even for me with sugar, I think I was allowing myself to indulge a lot the past few weeks and eat it for breakfast, eat cookie dough for breakfast, eat an ice cream cone at 10 a.m. And now this week I've had less of a craving for it, which is weird. I didn't dive in totally, but I definitely let myself indulge. And now this week it's more chill and I don't find myself craving it as much. Or if I have the craving, it's a lot easier to tell myself, Abby, we're taking a break. We had a lot last week. We're good. Have you tried it?
I don't think so. No.
What about with drugs?
Yeah, I did.
But you never got
For sure. No,
full?
no, yeah, I still love drugs.
Yeah.
I just don't love the consequences that come with them.
Mm-hmm.
And the chaos that happens when I use them.
How easy is it every day for you to avoid them now? Like, does the thought constantly cross your mind, or are you pretty good and at peace with it now?
No, I mean, I feel like the obsession has been removed to use them just because of how much I've regained in the time that I've been sober, like the relationships with my family. I'm able to, I don't know, I don't dread life anymore. And
You used to dread it
yeah, for sure.
when you were doing drugs, or what do you mean?
Yeah, just when I was like caught in this cycle of drugs, which led to the hopelessness and chaos, and the cycle would just continue into a cyclical downstream.
Mm-hmm.
And now everything looks up. I mean, not everything, but like in general, things are looking up, and I don't want to let go of that.
Were there a lot more ups and downs, super extremes back then too?
Yeah, for sure. Like crash a car, work to get a new one, crash that one. Family is like not talking to me. Just, yeah, very extremes, highs and very low lows.
Mm-hmm.
Now things are a lot more chill.
Mm-hmm. And do you ever find in everyday life, now that you're sober, finding moments of feeling high? Because I found there was a period after went mostly sober, and I was finding in random moments, I would get this high on life, and it would feel like I was on X different drug. And then I've been with you or like somebody else sometimes, and I feel like they almost give me a high in a way. And I think that's almost a reminder or a push to keep going with the sobriety, because people think they can only achieve the high when they're on that drug. But I think you can channel the energy of that drug when you're sober, or just be blessed with a moment of feeling it in random times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've definitely found those instances like in my life, like things that bring me to a heightened sense of being. Like this morning I hit an ice bath, and well, I did some breath work before it and then hopped in the ice bath and got out feeling fantastic. There's definitely keys out there that you can find and two ones that I found are the breath work and the ice bath, and then like working out, taking care of my body, eating well. Like I think all these things lead to a heightened sense of life, just like a better life all around. And quote unquote feeling high.
Yeah, you're so into breath work and you're influencing me because I think today was the first day I did in a long time, the Wim Hof meditation follow along, because I'll sometimes try to do it on my own, but I don't have the same motivation with it as if I'm following a guided meditation of some kind. And I love Wim Hof. I think partly because he's Scandinavian like me, and I love listening to his accent. I don't know, it just feels homely in a weird way. And then the first time I ever did it was in New York. This was when I was doing tons of drugs and alcohol. And I remember doing it at maybe like 9 o'clock at night, and I fell right to sleep. And I woke up at maybe 10 o'clock the next morning, whereas normally I'd wake up at 6 a.m. every day for work. And I was freaking out like, oh my gosh, like what did I just do? But clearly my body needed a lot of sleep. And obviously New York was so stressful on me. So that was kind of a little window into natural healing for me. What has breathwork done for you?
It's just like an instant anxiety reliever at times where I'm feeling oppression, like in my body, you know, heaviness. I can do some breath work and really escape that pretty instantly. It's just like it seems like a cheat code to me. Very cool. I started doing it in rehab actually.
Really?
And then that's when I started doing cold water exposure too.
Did someone get you on that, or how did that happen?
I think, yeah, someone got me on the Wim Hof breath work. We started watching follow alongs on YouTube. A bunch of people started doing it. So that's when I started doing that. And then there was like a creek right behind our cabin, and I was out there in the winter. And so I would go and lay in the creek in the morning after I woke up, and then do breath work after that.
Like floating in the creek?
Yeah, I would just lay back in this, like, it was like a foot deep, and I just like lay back and freeze my balls off and get out feeling good. I guess we were talking about the purpose thing earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So like while I was there, I was like, what is my purpose? Like, do I have a purpose? Like, I feel like there's something I'm supposed to be doing. So I started praying about that specifically and asking for some insight on what I'm supposed to do. And I guess what came to me pretty strongly was open up a multiple modality healing center of sorts at some point. So I guess that's something I'm still thinking about and like working towards now with my life. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I definitely have a vision to do that one day.
Mm-hmm. If you could open it anywhere in the world, where would it be?
One out west somewhere, you know, maybe like in the mountains of New Mexico, or like near Sedona or something. Maybe one in Costa Rica.
Have you been to Costa Rica?
Yeah, I've been to Costa Rica. Yeah.
And you liked it?
I love it. Yeah, I learned to surf there.
Who taught you?
I went to, there's like this movie, Endless Summer. These two dudes follow the summer around the world. And one of the guys that was in that documentary retired out there in Costa Rica, and he had a surf camp. So it's just some surf instructor at his surf camp.
Mm-hmm. Was it pretty easy to learn?
I felt like it was not that hard to like learn to actually stand up. I'm not good by any means, but
is it harder when you're a large human? Does that make sense? Like,
I'm not sure. I've never been a small human.
Okay, fine. I just picture a smaller person like having an easier time getting up and riding the waves, but then a larger person kind of having that weight and groundedness. But you probably need a huge board, right?
Yeah. I mean, big people can ride smaller boards too.
Oh, okay. Did you find metaphors between surfing and life? Because I have a friend who surfs, and she's always talking about how surfing always reminds her to slow down and wait for the right wave. And even if you get pummeled by the ocean, you can still get back up and see the beauty around you. All these different spiritual messages.
Yeah, I can get with that. I mean, I like the fact that the waves never stop coming. Like life is always moving. I see
Mm-hmm.
movement in the ocean and movement in life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of like if you have some negative experience and you keep getting in that rut of negativity, it can keep pummeling you and pummeling you. But then if you kind of slow down and stop and take a step back and you go, wait, let's focus on the positive, more of the good, then you can kind of find redirection. I think there's so much power in pausing and slowing down, which you're good at. You're slow, which is really, really good. Very grounded. All right. I think we got to wrap up. Any last words?
I don't think so. It's been good to thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you.